Hamza Yusuf became First Minister last year when his members rejected the idea of an SNP lurch to the right. And he now looks set to give his party what they rejected. He'll be shoring up support from his Conservative wing and ditching the progressive policy platform he was elected on, which he continued to endorse just days ago. And we now expect to see a raft of progressive policies watered down, delayed or ditched altogether, from rent controls to nature restoration, from new sustainable transport policies to Scotland's leading approach on decarbonising homes. But to those in the SNP who do still believe in a progressive and fairer Scotland, our door is open.
Over the last 2.5 years, we are deeply proud of what the Scottish Greens have delivered as part of government. Scrapping peak rail fares, an emergency rent freeze, a ban on new incineration, record funding for climate and nature, and the most significant expansion of the real living wage ever in Scotland. In the coming months, we were set to announce a new national park, progress a permanent system of rent controls, and move to banning conversion therapy. We will continue to fight for these progressive policies, which our voters and our members backed overwhelmingly. We came into government knowing the challenges that lay ahead, and we were prepared to tackle them head on. It was right that our members took time to reflect on the agreement following the significant news last week that Scotland must rethink our trajectory to net zero. But given the transformative change that the Bute House Agreement was delivering, from rent controls to record investment in the green economy, we are confident that our members would have continued to prioritise progressive change. As co-leaders of the Scottish Greens, we were prepared to put our own political careers on the line with our members to defend our achievements in government. Our party, like all Green parties around the world, is committed to collaborative politics. Scotland needs parties who are willing to cooperate in the best interests of our country and of future generations. We remain committed to that kind of politics. Sadly, it seems we are the last party in Scotland to hold those values.
We'll take a few questions and there'll be more to say later.
Lorna, Patrick, did the First Minister sack you and why?
The First Minister is going to have to explain his decision, but this is his decision to end a cooperation agreement that until days ago he was giving his full backing to.
Did he explain why?
Well, I think you're going to have to ask him to explain that, not only to yourselves and to Scotland, but to those SNP members who endorsed the Bute House Agreement and who wanted the progressive policy platform that Lorna and I have just outlined.
Have you been betrayed? Do you feel betrayed?
I think the future generations of Scotland have been betrayed. The progressive policies that Greens were working towards were about creating a long-standing vision for a greener and fairer Scotland, and now anything we see brought to the Chamber will be watered down, delayed, underfunded. It's a worse future for Scotland.
Given the fact that you've given your own members a vote in the future of the Bute House Agreement, do you not feel as though you've kind of forced the First Minister's hand on this?
No, we were committed to a democratic process, empowering our members to express their views. We'd already been involved in significant discussions with lots of party members around the country. That was a really positive and constructive discussion. I'd like to have had them given the opportunity to make that decision in a few weeks' time. Sadly, the First Minister has decided to dump a progressive policy platform that he was previously committed to.
You talked about delivering transformative change. We know that many of your policies have been abandoned or dead in the water. What have you actually achieved since you've been in government?
I mean, I've given you a clear list of what we've achieved. Record funding for climate and nature, that Nature Restoration Fund, Recycling Improvement Fund, ban on new incineration, rent freeze during the cost of living crisis. That was something that no other nation of the UK delivered. Scottish Greens delivered that.
And if you look at some of the policies that the SNP's right wing like to criticise us for, they were in the SNP's own manifesto, from protecting the marine environment to transgender people's rights. They were in the SNP's manifesto. Those candidates didn't mean it when they stood for election on that manifesto, and now Hamza Yusuf is giving in to them.
The Greens have supported the government in many policy areas, particularly in budgets when you were in government. Will you still be as cooperative with the Scottish Government when it comes to things like the budget going forward?
Do you think the current government will still be in place for the next budget?